Welcome back, everyone. We find ourselves back at the story tree once again. I have two different uploads to share with y'all this evening. The first upload will include two different encounters. The second upload is a bit different, so I'm going to upload it by itself. You'll understand once you hear it. Now, I will go ahead and warn everyone. The guy in the second encounter story doesn't mince his words. I've emailed back and forth a couple times with him, and he's the type of guy that you would describe as very straightforward. I respect it. At first, I thought maybe I should change some of the things he said or leave them out altogether, but that's just not who I am or how I do things. If you've been here for a while, you know that I give these encounters raw and unfiltered. You send me your story the way you want it to be told, and I will honor your request. Unless, of course, you include tons of vulgar, foul profanity, which I can add a few small words here and there, but it's limited because I know there are some younger people that listen to my channel. With all that out of the way, and the story tree lit up and pretty, ready to go, let's get into tonight's encounters. Grab a drink. Lock your doors and windows. Hit the lights. And let's get started. January 2018, Northern Minnesota. I've been plowing roads in northern Minnesota for over 15 years. I've seen my share of strange things. Deer standing in the middle of the road in a blizzard. Owls swooping down, nearly going through my windshield on my truck. Even a few black bear just wandering out of hibernation. But nothing compared to what I'm getting ready to tell you. The storm was brutal, with winds howling and snow piling up faster than I could clear it. Around 2 a.m., I was on a lonely stretch of highway near the edge of Superior National Forest. Visibility was terrible, and I was just trying to keep the truck on the road. That's when my headlights caught something darting across the highway. At first, I thought it was a wolf, but it moved too fast, and it was much larger. I slowed down, squinting through the snow, and saw it standing at the tree line. Its eyes reflected the light, glowing yellow. Whatever it wasn't just watching me. It was studying me. I grabbed my flashlight, curious, and stepped out, but the wind almost knocked me over immediately. I looked, and the creature was gone. But I did find tracks leading away into the woods. Huge tracks, like something walking on two legs. I told myself to get back in the truck, but before I could, I heard a deep growl from the wood line. I quickly ran back to my truck and left the area. The rest of the night, that thing followed me. Every time I thought I'd lost it, I'd hear scraping on the plow or catch a glimpse of those glowing eyes in my rearview mirror. At one point, it even slammed into the side of the truck hard enough to rock it. I didn't stop again until I reached the maintenance garage. The tracks were still in the snow the next morning, but no one wanted to believe what I told them I saw. They just said it was a bear. I've been through plenty of blizzards since, but I always make sure I'm not alone on that stretch of road anymore. Tonight's second encounter. When I think back to that time, it all seemed pretty ordinary at first. Nothing out of the ordinary that would make you lose sleep at night. Living in Waukesha, Wisconsin, things generally feel safe and predictable. It started out as small stuff, the kind you dismiss without a second thought. The trash cans outside our house would get knocked over every few nights. I didn't think much of it. I figured it was raccoons or maybe a stray dog rummaging for food. Then there were these weird scratch marks on my fence in the backyard. They looked a bit odd, but again, it seemed explainable somehow. Perhaps a larger animal just passing through. My daughter, Lisa, joked that maybe a squirrel had a secret vendetta against us. That made us both laugh. As time went on, though, I began noticing more unsettling things. Late at night, I started hearing these strange noises, soft, persistent tapping on the windows, all around the house. It was so faint that you'd think it was your imagination. Lisa thought it was just the house settling, those predictable creaks and groans old buildings make, but I wasn't convinced. Something about it felt disturbingly deliberate. So one night I decided to find out what was going on. I stayed up later than I usually do, camping out in the living room with a view of the backyard. Midnight rolled around, and soon after the motion light out back flickered on. I got up cautiously and peeked through the curtains, fully expecting to find a raccoon rummaging around. But what I saw was nothing like I imagined. Instead of a raccoon, I saw this massive figure crouching by the trash cans. Initially, I thought it was a bear, big enough to be one, but as I kept watching, it stood up, and that's when things got really strange. It rose up on two legs like a person might, and it topped the fence. Its face was horrifyingly like a wolf, yet the body looked disturbingly human. I just stood there frozen, not sure if I could even breathe. It turned its head slowly and looked right at me through the window. I'll never forget its eyes, glowing and intense, like they could bore through the glass and see straight into my soul. It never made a sound, it just stared, almost in defiance. After what felt like forever, it finally broke eye contact and just walked back into the trees bordering the yard. I stayed there, borderline paralyzed, long after it was gone, trying to process what I had just seen. The next day, I noticed those deep claw marks on the side of my car, the same that was on my fence. That was the push I needed to take action. I decided to install cameras around the house, figuring if this thing came back, I'd be ready. But strangely, it seemed to know. It never ventured close enough again to be caught on video. The noises eventually stopped after a few weeks, but those weeks felt like they dragged on for months. Even now, whenever I hear a twig snap or the wind blow in the trees, I get a chill. I can't shake the feeling that something's watching me. Whatever it wasn't an animal that I've seen before. It was something else entirely. Something that understood more than it should have. And knowing that it was watching me just as closely as I was watching it, well, that's something I can't easily forget. Anonymous. 2 very horrifying encounters. Thank you, gentlemen. I truly appreciate each person who decides to step up and share their encounter stories. It does take a lot of guts, I know from experience. I struggled when retelling my first one. One day soon I'll share my second encounter, but don't get your hopes up. It's nothing like the first one. Nowhere near as terrifying. But it's an encounter, nonetheless. Like I said, I'll be uploading a second video later on after this one. You do not want to miss the second one. I hope y'all enjoyed these 2 encounters. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of any future uploads. Until next time, my friends, watch over your loved ones. Keep your head on a swivel. And as always, good night.